Oh yeah, okay.
What did you think I was going to say?
I couldn't really imagine. The thing that I imagined coming out of your mouth was, I really enjoyed fidget.
No.
Thinking, oh no, please don't say fidget.
Fidget
Let's
is
not have
real...
another pain and panic moment.
No, I don't like... Actually, I think I go on to talk about the bat. I've got some notes on the bat, but we'll get to that.
There's a lot to say.
No, I don't really like fidget.
Welcome to Gabble Sisters. Join us on our walking tour of every Disney animated feature, taking in the history, psychology, and music of a randomly selected film each episode. Think goose. Forward, march.
So, hello Megan.
Hello Bronwen.
How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. I thought that I might be a bit hoarse today because I was singing in a choir concert last night, but I think I'm okay.
You sound good. You sound
Excellent. Good. Still got podcast voice. Good. How are you?
I'm alright, yeah.
Good.
Not much to say. Not much going on. Not a lot going on at the moment. So...
That's a Taylor Swift reference.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, go me.
Have you been doing anything Disney related recently?
So it's a bit of a tenuous Disney related update that I have this time. In any free time I have at the moment, I've been playing the game Animal Crossing. One of the things that you can do is change your island's tune. So then anytime like you hear the bell ringing or whenever you speak to someone you hear the island tune. So I changed mine to be do 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 do.
The Gabble Sisters.
The Gabble Sisters.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's the other thing is I've been reminded in Animal Crossing of this episode that we're doing today because in the shop recently there was a deer stalker hat.
Oh.
So I've been going around wearing my little deer stalker and it's adorable.
Nice.
And yes, it reminds me of Sherlock Holmes. So, how about you, Bronwen? Do you have any Disney updates from this month?
Not really. I haven't done much Disney related, to be honest.
Well, that's tragic.
I know, it is quite tragic. For reasons I don't quite understand, I watched Flubber fairly recently.
Oh, cool!
You know, I was surprised. I went on Letterboxd to look at the reviews and they're all really bad.
No,
people
really?
don't like it. They think it's stupid.
No.
And I'm like, no.
It's a family film.
Yeah.
It is silly. Oh, Flubber is great. I remember it being really funny, and I love Weebo.
Yeah, Weebo is the best thing about
awesome.
it. Weebo is the best thing. So, shall we talk about Basil, the Great Mouse Detective? Why are there 3 different names for this film to start with?
For us, this is actually very offensive. It's anti-British.
Well,
so we'll get into this in more detail, but the film is based on a series of books called Basil of Baker Street.
Okay.
Which is about a mouse, Sherlock Holmes. And they decided that calling it Basil of Baker Street was too British. So they called it The Great Mouse Detective for release in America, but they kept the Basil for the British release. So we got Basil the Great Mouse Detective. And then, confusingly, on a re-release in America, they called it The Adventures of the Great Mouse Detective, which is just a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah,
really.
That's a real mouthful.
So we always knew it as Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
Yes, we did.
Didn't we?
And then when I went to search for that on Disney Plus, I put in BAS. It was just like, can't help you.
Nothing.
Can't help you. So I had to go all the way back.
Like here.
And then, great man, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and even when you start searching for the Great Mouse Detective is quite low down the
list. It
list.
takes a very long time.
It wants to show you The Greatest Showman.
Yes,
like, please watch this.
Yes.
Please don't watch Basil
this
the Great Mouse
film.
Detective.
And we'll get into this, I imagine. I remember this film very well. It feels like the rest of the world has forgotten it, including Disney.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. This is another one of those films. All 3 so far are films that I can't remember seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
They're just there. I remember really enjoying this. I don't know why. Well, I think I particularly liked, for some reason, I really liked the bit in the toy shop. As a child, because obviously children like toys.
And I do remember as a child as well, the toy that the dad gives Olivia at the beginning, the little ballerina doll.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I just thought that was genius.
I have that as a note. I really like the dancing doll.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Very cool.
I want
Very
that.
cool design.
But watching it again for the podcast, I actually watched it twice.
Oh, well done.
I know. And I was just sort of like, okay, yes. I'm trying to think what changed. Obviously, I grew up. Did I just develop taste, or did something else happen?
It's a good question.
And actually, maybe I'm going to get into that when I talk about sort of the psychology of mystery and crime, like crime stories. But I think as an adult, there's something missing in terms of, I don't think this film is one thing or another, and I think this fits into very much what was happening during the Dark Ages, that era during Disney. Sort of, this is just pre-Renaissance, this.
Yes.
And no, this film is absolutely not a Renaissance film.
Some have claimed.
Some have claimed they are wrong. And one of the things that I always think about those films is that they just don't really know what they're doing. They're sort of like, are we trying to, what sort of market are we aiming for? And I'll get into, like, Katzenberg feels like he's quite a big part of this. He's like, I want to aim for, like, a hip teenage market. And I just don't think this film is that, but it's also, like, kind of dark and weird and not really a traditional family film either. So,
yeah.
As a child, I really enjoyed it. As an adult, I'm sort of more on the fence. What about you?
I think my feelings are very similar. So yeah, I remember watching it quite a lot when we were young, because I think we owned this one, and I remember enjoying it. And I also remember enjoying it when I went to watch it in our big Disney
Yes,
watch-through.
I agree. I don't think I'd watched it in a very long time.
Yes.
And so there was something quite fun about going back to it.
Yes. Yeah, I think nostalgia is a big part of it for me. Like, I still do enjoy this film, and I think a lot of that is to do with the nostalgia. I think the last time we watched it through, because we're watching all the films chronologically, we watched it straight after The Black Cauldron.
Oh my word.
And I think that's significant.
Yes.
So I watched The Black Cauldron, and we'll get onto our feelings about that in another episode sometime down the line.
Yeah.
But then I watched this and I thought, oh phew, this is a good film.
To be fair, I think it does feel on a scale of, like, the darkest Dark Age film to Renaissance. This is veering on Renaissance.
Yeah, definitely.
We're headed, like, there's
starting
light.
to get that formula.
Yeah, we're starting to get there, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
The players are coming, like, at the studio. The people that are going to be the big people in pulling Disney into the Renaissance period are starting to set up. So yeah, that's happening. So we're in a similar place with this film, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
I will say though, this is the very first thought that I wrote about this film. I really enjoyed watching the old Blue Castle idents.
Yes, I thought that as soon as it came up.
Something that annoyed me when we watched Hercules was I find it really frustrating when Disney takes, like, their big old classics like Hercules and they stick the new ident on. So on this one, because this film is old and no one cares about it, they've left the old blue one on. Because for me, that, like, the that's such a part of the nostalgia is that Blue Castle. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I enjoyed that. Yeah, that made me very happy. Yes. I like the new one, but nothing beats what you watched when you were 5.
Oh, absolutely.
Or 6, you know?
Yeah. First of all, it's synopsis time. So haikus.
I'm not going to lie to you, Megan. I wrote this haiku 5 minutes before you walked into my house because I forgot.
Brilliant.
I came in here and I put my laptop down and went, I haven't done the haiku. So I've written one haiku because I think that's what this film deserves.
Ooh, a burn.
It's really bad.
We're primed.
I spent about 30 seconds on this. A haiku for The Great Mouse Detective, or whatever you choose to call this film.
By Bronwyn Quantomas.
Flaversham's missing. Rattigan. Oh, Rattigan. Basil saved the day. I feel like that summarises the film.
That'll do it.
I think that summarises the film.
Main characters in there. Yeah.
I really like that Rattigan or Rattigan is 7 syllables.
That's pleasing.
That is pleasing.
Yeah.
So, Megan, why don't you tell us a little bit around the history that relates to this film?
So I thought I'll talk about two broad things. The first one you can probably join in with from your research, because I thought it would be good to contextualise the making of this film. And as you said earlier about the people involved in making it, so you may well have read more about that than I did, but I thought it was worth setting up that context. And then what I've done really is compared it with the source material.
Yeah.
So both the Basil of Baker Street books and the Sherlock Holmes stories. So setting up the context of this film being made. So this film came out in 1986, and as this was solidly in what Roy E. Disney, so Walt Disney's nephew, called a stagnant period for the company.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not
wrong.
So the 80s had been a really sparse time for Disney. So, like, the last big hitter was The Rescuers in 1977. We have to wait another 4 years for The Fox and the Hound to come out in 1981. Then another 4 years for The Black Cauldron to come out in 1985. And then this came out in 1986. The Black Cauldron was a massive time and money sink. At the time, it was the most expensive animated film ever made.
Wow.
And a complete box office bomb. So it put the animation department in real danger. So this is the context that we've got for the making of The Great Mouse Detective. And as The Great Mouse Detective was approved as an alternative project while The Black Cauldron was still being made, because so many of the animators were unhappy. And I've made a note here that it was Ron Clements and John Musker's directorial debut.
Yes, because they go on and do some films that I really enjoy from Disney, like Treasure Planet, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And The Little Mermaid.
Did they do Little Mermaid?
I thought they did Little Mermaid, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. You were absolutely right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you. You're absolutely right. Did they do
They had a
Aladdin?
good run. Because, I think then the next one's Aladdin. And then... They did Hercules as well, didn't they?
Yes, they did. So the one we've just done before this, they did. Yes, and I think.
And was it then Treasure Planet? Was that their next one? I think
then Treasure Planet. Yes, and I think they did do The Princess and the Frog.
That's cool. So it wasn't just that. There were 4 directors on this: Ron Clements, John Musker, David Michener, and Bernie Mattinson.
That's too many directors.
It is a lot.
That's
isn't
too
it?
many directors. Too many cooks.
Yeah.
Because animation films often have 2 directors. I'm not quite sure why that is. There's probably a good reason. But 4 is just too many. There's too many egos.
Yeah.
But they, Musker and Clements, are just so associated with the Renaissance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
and
definitely.
then they come in, they bring the Renaissance in with The Little Mermaid. And then when Disney goes through its sort of almost second dark age, they then are brought in to try and bring things back with The Princess and the Frog. Let's try and get things back on track.
Can they do it again now?
I mean, so a lot of people would claim we're not in a dark age right now.
I want them to bring back 2D animation. I feel like they could do it. They could do it. I believe in them.
It's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
This was based, like I said earlier, on the Basil of Baker Street books.
Yes.
But the idea was originally put on hold because it was suggested at the time that The Rescuers was coming out, and everyone kind of said, oh, we like this idea, but it's a bit similar to The Rescuers.
Yes. Well, it's interesting you say that, because in 2022, they considered doing a crossover series featuring The Rescuers and The Great Mouse Detective.
And I feel like that would really work.
And the series would have featured the descendants of Basil working at a modern version of the Rescue Aid Society. I would watch that.
Yeah.
Do you know why it was cancelled? Because of the Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh,
bring
what?
back.
That's not the same, though.
I
suppose, like,
animals
crime-solving rodents.
Yeah. And actually, I actually quite enjoyed the Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Film. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I actually would prefer the Rescuers, Great Mouse Detective crossover crime-fighting mice.
It's interesting that they canned it because it was too similar to what they were doing at that time, and then they went on and did The Black Cauldron, which was different and terrible. And then they came back to The Great Mouse Detective, which the reviews reflected that was more in line with what people were expecting. They were happy to be back to mice.
Really interestingly, I was surprised by how well this film was received. It did well at the box office. It was beaten by An American Tail.
Yes.
Which is awkward for multiple reasons.
Yes.
It's another mouse film.
Another mouse film.
And it's from
Don Bluth.
And then I've just written here, in his print review for the Chicago Tribune, Gene Siskey enthusiastically praised the film as the most truly memorable animated feature in 25 years. Really,
What?
Gene?
So we're talking about from 1960 to 1985. So what Disney films do we have in that time? Isn't The Jungle Book in that time?
Yeah.
That's much more memorable, surely.
Yeah. 101 Dalmatians. I think he just wanted free Disney World tickets.
Yeah, well, we also think The Great Mouse Detective is the most memorable film ever.
Absolutely. We love everything that comes out of the Walt Disney Corporation.
I made a note as well that it was a critical and financial success, but it was outperformed at the box office by both An American Tail that year and then later on The Land Before Time in 1988, which was
Steven
another Don
Spielberg's.
Bluth.
Yeah. I mean, that is a great film.
Yeah, we were big fans of The Land
Yes.
Before Time.
Yes.
So maybe that was quite healthy competition for Disney at the time.
100% they needed it.
Yes.
They absolutely
And then we
needed
get
it.
the Renaissance.
I don't
so-
think the Renaissance wouldn't have happened without Don Bluth and everyone else. Steven Spielberg, really coming forward in animation. Because they could see Disney was failing. And someone had to pick up the slack. And we've got a gap in the market and Disney said, no, it's still ours. But yes, absolutely. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Those films were needed. I really enjoyed the Big Ben scenes. The original finale was to take place on the hands of Big Ben, with Ratkin eventually falling to his demise, which is obviously very classic Sherlock.
Yeah,
that
Moriarty falling at Reichenbach.
Yeah, exactly. However, the layout designer, Mike Peraza, approached Musker with the idea of restaging the final confrontation so the characters would break through the face of Big Ben with the grinding clockwork gears, providing added menace, in which Musker agreed. And I think it was a great decision. That scene, it's so intimidating. Peraza's inspiration for the scene was a Japanese anime film called The Castle of Cagliostro.
Cagliostro, yes, I've heard of that.
Which is a feature film by one of my favourite animators, Hayao Miyazaki. And for people who don't know, Hayao Miyazaki is sort of one of the two big animators behind Studio Ghibli. He directed My Neighbor Totoro's Spirited Away, all of those lovely, fluffy films from Studio Ghibli. If it's one of the scarier films, it's not him. He doesn't do scary. Yes. I just want to shout out to Miyazaki because he's a phenomenal animator. And you might know this. Didn't they go to Big Ben?
They did.
They were allowed inside.
Yes, they were.
Which is very cool.
Yes, they had to get out before the clock chimed because it's too powerful. That was interesting in terms of the technological developments that were happening when this film was being made. So the Black Cauldron had been the first Disney feature to make use of 3D computer animation, but only in quite a minimal way. Whereas you can really see it in The Great Mouse Detective with the Big Ben scene, with the fantastic cogs. And the camera moving through these cogs that are interacting with each other. And I just think it's really cool that the way they did that, so the gears were modelled and animated with 3D computer animation techniques and then output as drawings onto paper with a pen plotter. And so then the animators would put the characters on top. So you've got this just brilliant combination of computer and drawing animation. Obviously, later on, everything would end up being done in the computer. But I love that combination.
It's extremely intense, that entire scene. It's really good. This film, I think, in general, the animation, I think, is generally very good. Specifically, that scene. I think throughout the film, what they're good at is getting the sense of perspective, right?
Yes, I love that.
Particularly in
seeing
that...
things from the mouse eye view.
Particularly that scene where, Basil sort of wakes up inside Big Ben and the sheer size of it really comes across. If we compare that to, say, other films such as, say, Cats, 2019.
Oh, right.
Where the size of the cats completely changes across the film. Sometimes they are absolutely tiny and you're like, no, cats aren't that small, to being like huge and being basically the size of humans. So like the people that made that film, what's his name? Tom Hooper could have taken some inspiration from this film, because I think they really do well with perspective.
Yeah, I love it when you see like the little apartment under 221B Baker Street, and the same with Flavisham's toy shop, because you see that at the pavement level under the house, and that's really good.
I will say, I don't know what the chances are of Sherlock Holmes and Basil, who both have these sort of extremely, these very clever deducting minds, them having to live in the same building. What are the chances of that?
That leads us beautifully on to the next thing we're going to talk about. Well done! Well done!
Well done me!
Let's talk about the books.
Okay.
Because the books make more sense of that than the film does.
Oh, okay.
So, it is based on a series of books called Basil of Baker Street. Similarly to you, I limited my research and I did not read all of the books. I read the first one.
You've read a whole book for this?
I read 2 whole books, man. I read A Study in Scarlet, the first Sherlock Holmes story. But we'll come back to that. So, the first one is called Basil of Baker Street. So, these are books by Eve Titus. And there were 5 books that were published between 1958 and 1982. So he's called Basil because he's named after the actor Basil Rathbone, who played Sherlock Holmes. His voice appears in this film, even though he died. The bits where they go up to 221B Baker Street and they hear Sherlock Holmes and Watson talking to each other, that was from a recording of a story that Basil Rathbone did.
Oh, I did not read that. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Cool, isn't
that
it?
Is cool.
Yeah. The key difference is that Basil, who lives under 221B Baker Street, is really inspired by Sherlock Holmes and wants to learn all of this deduction from him. And it's a different setup, that they've got like a whole mouse community living under 221B Baker Street called Homestead.
I see what they did there. I got so excited I knocked my glasses off. I see what they did. Homestead.
Yeah. The story is entirely different. So it's about these 2 twin mice who have been kidnapped. So there's a kidnap involved, and that's it. The rest of the story is entirely different. Professor Rattigan didn't appear in the first book. He does apparently appear later on in the series. That's all I've written about the books, really, because it was broad inspiration for this film. Okay. So, finally, in my history section, probably the meat of it, I thought I'd come on to talk about Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you at the outset, just out of interest, do you have a favourite Sherlock Holmes version or adaptation, other than, obviously, The Great Mouse Detective?
Obviously, The Great Mouse Detective is the top
ultimate
one. I'm going to show how millennial I am now.
I wondered if this would be your answer.
Okay, so the Jeremy Brett ones are fine. They're a bit creaky.
Oh, I love them.
The films that they did with... what's his name?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Robert Downey Jr. I was thinking Iron Man. I was right.
Yeah, you were.
And Jude Law are fine.
Nicholas really likes those.
I think they're fine. Maybe I should start by saying, and maybe this isn't going to go down well, I'm not the biggest Sherlock Holmes fan.
Get out.
I'm not anti, and if I was made to watch one, that would be fine. I don't think they're as good as the number of adaptations that have been done. I think there are other stories that deserve to be told. So probably if I had to watch, if someone said to me, you have to watch a Sherlock Holmes adaptation right here, right now, what are you choosing? I'm going to choose the BBC Benedict Cumberbatch version.
No, that's
and I know
fair.
that is wrong.
That.
I will say I recognise the problems with it, but I think the problems with it are problems that you see in other versions. So, for example, that version it's fairly modern. It came out. The first season was 2010. Yeah, it gets very racist quite quickly.
Oh, I don't remember.
Like in the second one with all the Chinese, like set in the Chinese, the circus and everything. And actually, something I've written about this one is it near the beginning we first see Basil wearing this sort of Japanese outfit right at the beginning, and I think obviously that's not okay. I think it's something in line with the Sherlock Holmes stories and him enjoying doing all the dressing up and pretending to be somebody. And also it's been set in Victorian times. So there's all of those issues. But I think you see those throughout all the different versions. But if I had to choose one, it would be the Benedict Cumberbatch version, just because I love Benedict Cumberbatch. That's why.
No, that's fair. I thought you would probably say that. And I think the first 2 series of Sherlock are excellent.
I like the 3rd series as well. I really like the one with the wedding. That's a really good one where they're trying to figure out a murder at John and Mary's wedding. What about you?
I would say in terms of like visual adaptation, I would go for Jeremy Brett.
Okay.
I think Jeremy Brett himself is just extraordinary, and he's so weird.
He
I love
is
his
weird.
Weirdness.
Yeah.
Like the first time you see him, he like jumps over a sofa. It's just the way he moves is really odd, and it's got great music in the Jeremy Brett version as well. But also, I'm a big fan of, a friend recommended me recently a podcast series called Sherlock Co, which is very much in the same vein as Sherlock. Yeah. It's a modern day Sherlock Holmes, but I think that is really well done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they've been going for like 3 years or something, and they've done such a massive slow burn on Moriarty. Oh. It's been so good, because I keep thinking, this is it, we're finally going to meet Moriarty, and then at the last moment they back away.
Yeah.
And
nice.
It's done really well. I'd recommend it. So yeah, that was just
interest.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of The Great Mouse Detective, and as what we see from the Sherlock Holmes canon, we've obviously got Sherlock Holmes' main thing, his tactic is deduction. And we see Basil doing that. We see him recognising that Dawson was an army surgeon in Afghanistan, like Watson. And working that out from like the stitches on his coat and stuff like that. We do see Basil wearing a deerstalker.
Yes.
So another classic Sherlock Holmesism. The whole chemistry thing he does, that's very
I
Sherlock
enjoyed
Holmes.
the chemistry thing. That was fun.
I think that might be my favourite bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, incidentally, I remember as a child being really confused by the bullet thing. I had no idea what he was doing.
Now I understand it.
I sort of thought it was really clever, but I was like, I've got no idea.
Because he's lining it up to see if like the...
Yeah, to see if it's the same...
From
the same gun. Yes, because each gun has kind of a signature marking it will make on bullets. Yeah. I remember being really confused by that as a child.
All of that stuff, I will say... the chemistry, the gun, that was all very fun.
Yes, and I think it's the best bit of the mystery, because the mystery is kind of pretty lacking. There's not a lot to solve, but his thing about working out where the notepaper came from, that was really cool. His extremes of mood are very Sherlock Holmes. So Sherlock Holmes would have these periods of immense activity when he was solving a case, and also these periods of immense depression. So actually, I was going to ask you, from a layperson's perspective, it reminds me of manic depression.
What we call bipolar now.
Right. Yes.
What we might call this, if we're linking it to like a clinical presentation, which, to be clear, we can't, because he's an animated mouse and we haven't met him, just to be clear. But what this is most reminiscent of would be a bipolar disorder type 2. So according to the literature, this is a mental health condition characterised by a pattern of recurring depressive episodes and hypomanic episodes. So less severe, shorter, high energy mood lifts. So instead of experiencing what we would call mania, which is sort of very extreme pacing, talking very, very fast, being very, very agitated, getting very angry very quickly, potentially hurting yourself or other people through impulsive, sort of lots of impulses in the brain, we'd call this more hypomania. So it's doesn't quite meet the threshold. So you'd see just increased energy, productivity, fast talking, decreased need for sleep, often feeling productive rather than fully manic, but then crashing down into sort of very low mood, not wanting to do anything, either not sleeping at all or sleeping too much, all of those sort of classic low mood symptoms. So I think what we would see here, if we were going to put it into a disorder, is that more that type 2 presentation.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And this would tend to, you're more likely to flip quite quickly between these two, as opposed to type 1, where you tend to spend a long time in each, whereas here you can find yourself flipping all the way up and then all the way down to the extremes of your mood quite quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think we see that with Sherlock Holmes and with Basil.
Yeah.
The bit at the beginning where he's all excited about the bullet and then it's not what he's expecting, and suddenly he's
like,
just...
Drat! And then just like,
And he just kind of collapses. So other things we see, Toby... I hadn't realised before, is a character in the Sherlock Holmes stories. There's a dog called Toby that Sherlock sometimes uses to follow scent trails.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Moriarty is the inspiration for Rattigan, and as Moriarty is referred to as the Napoleon of crime.
Yes.
Which is a line that's used for Rattigan in the film.
Yes.
And that's actually borrowed, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle borrowed that from something that a police officer said about a criminal at the time. He described him as the Napoleon of crime, and Arthur Conan Doyle thought, that's a good line. I'll take that.
Thank you very much.
Something I want to say, putting my pedant hat on again, is that this film quotes the elementary, my dear Dawson, in this case, rather than elementary, my dear Watson. That is never said in the Sherlock Holmes stories.
Does he ever say it's elementary?
Oh, I don't know.
Does he ever use the word elementary?
Probably. He probably uses the word elementary.
It's elementary, my dear Watson.
Yes, I mean, that's the classic line, isn't it?
That is so annoying.
Yeah. Something I did, look at me doing my detective work, but I was sorely disappointed. In this film, there are quite a lot of shots of, like, newspaper headlines and things like that. So I paused on those. I zoomed in. I read what you could read in the article.
I think, sorry, just to stop Megan there, I think it's really important that you know Megan is way more committed to this podcast than me. Because there's no way I ever would have done that for you, guys, listening. Sorry.
It's just fun. It's just fun. And there's, like, so there were details of, like, particular crimes and names and places, and I thought, oh, surely these are going to be Sherlock Holmes references.
Yeah,
they weren't. They were completely made up. I feel like that was a missed opportunity.
They just couldn't be bothered. I think
I'm more committed to this film
This was one that they were just like, we just need to get it in the can. We just need to get it done. It doesn't matter if it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, they lost the attention to detail that you see in other Disney films. Easter eggs, though. Sorry, it just made me think. My favourite Easter egg in this one, the Dumbo.
Oh yeah, the Dumbo!
That was a great Easter egg.
That's cute.
The Dumbo that blows bubbles?
Yeah, I think so.
I loved that.
Yeah, that was good. So this is the final thing I'll come on to, but probably the most interesting, which is actually thinking about the appeal of the Sherlock Holmes stories and how that relates to what Disney were trying to do in the 80s. So I meant to bring along with me, but I forgot that we have a massive book of all the Sherlock Holmes stories. And in the front of that, there's an introduction by P.D. James, who was a detective story writer herself. So her most famous detective is Dalgleish. And she wrote this really interesting introduction. One of the things she talks about is how the Sherlock Holmes stories were original, accessible, exciting, and with that occasional frisson of horror to which the Victorians were not averse. And I thought, that could be describing Disney in the 80s.
Yes!
Let's go through it again. Original, accessible, exciting, and with that occasional frisson of horror.
Yes.
And in the Dark Ages, that's really what they were doing.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true.
So yeah, I just thought that was fun, reading that sentence and thinking, and they were trying to be quite dark at the time.
They were, and I will say, as much as we might, be quite rude about the Dark Ages, there's a lot more original content there than we have now.
To rise.
Now we're just in sequel hell.
Yeah,
so.
We really are.
This is going to be known as the sequel age, surely.
Oh, surely, yes. I think this was... So the Black Cauldron, that's kind of like the depths of darkness for Disney.
Yes.
But this is really quite flippin' dark, isn't it? And I found it scary as a child, definitely. Particularly Fidget. This film, I actually think it's one of the things that contributes to me not liking it so much anymore. Like, how dark it is, literally. I was thinking about it.
It is.
And does it all take place at night? I don't think there's ever anything in the day.
That is very true.
It's so dark.
I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right.
And there's like this kind of, it continues on to, maybe giving spoilers for my opinions about other films, but Bronwyn and I have a little bit of a disagreement about The Rescuers, which Bronwyn is a fan of. I am not, because I think it's grubby looking. And I do just feel like the films of the Dark Ages, including this one, they just, they look that way, and it's not a look that I like.
This one, the only thing I'll say is it feels contextually appropriate. Like, the Victorian era, I associate with being quite dark, with gas lamps and long Victorian nights. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. This is exactly what I was just going to come on to say. So well done. Can I read you another quote from P.D. James?
Please do.
Because it's just absolutely about that. She says, Holmes's lasting attraction derives largely from the setting and atmosphere of the stories. Yeah. We enter into that Victorian world of fog and gaslight, the jingle of the horses' reins, the grind of the wheels on cobblestone, and the shadow of a veiled woman walking up the stairs of that claustrophobic sanctum at 221B Baker Street. Such is the power of the writing that it is we, the readers, who conjure up this enveloping miasma of mystery and terror. We may not always believe in the details of the plot, but we always believe in the man himself and the world he inhabits.
Yes. And I actually think The Great Mouse Detective really does capture the Victorian-ness, except for the mouse that is meant to be Queen Victoria. I don't, apart from her, if we get rid of the actual, like, the namesake, like, the first scene, you have literally that. You have a horse and carriage going down the cobblestones, you've got gas lamps, it's dark, it's a bit creepy. For a film that was made in the 80s in the United States of America, for them to have been able to capture that, I think, suggested that they had done their research.
Yes, I agree, yes. Or sort of just a thing on that, apparently when they did their research trip to London, so not only did they go inside Big Ben, but they also took lots of photos from, like, pavement level.
Oh, I love that!
To get the mouse eye view.
That is so good.
Yeah, and so they did it really well.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. But yes, with what they've achieved here, they're doing what P.D. James says that we're doing in our minds when we read the Sherlock Holmes stories, kind of visualising that setting. Yeah, there is that nice connective tissue between Basil the Great Mouse Detective and the Sherlock Holmes stories. So that's basically all I had to say. I have just one final fun fact for you about Sherlock Holmes. The first story that Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about Sherlock Holmes was A Study in Scarlet. That was in 1887. And as he wrote it at the age of 27.
Wow!
In less than 3 weeks. And, like, it's a relatively short story, but it is a novel length. It's one of the 4 novels that he wrote. So that is what I have to say about the history. Bronwen.
Yes.
Tell me about psychology and Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
So, when I was thinking about what to talk about, my concern was I'd end up just doing the things that I've done before. So, there's some pretty horrible stuff that happens in this film, like to Olivia particularly.
Yeah.
But I'm aware I've already spoken a bit about adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, and impact of those. I also thought that I could carry on Bronwen's Autism Corner.
Yeah.
Or Neurodiverse Corner. I'm aware that a lot has probably already been written about Sherlock Holmes and how he presents as a potentially neurodiverse figure. So I thought perhaps I'd go less into my sort of personal psychology that I've done before about sort of individual differences and think more about, from a cognitive perspective, why do we love crime stories and mystery so much? It's an area that I think as humans, at least in the West, we've always been really interested in. Perhaps, I say always, certainly from Victorian ages with Sherlock Holmes, perhaps being the first big crime.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think now.
Story series.
So there were, before that I can think of kind of true crime being an interest because of these like pamphlets about kind of very dramatic things that had happened. But in terms of fiction, Sherlock Holmes is the first example I can think of.
And obviously that has stayed with us. We have every month ITV puts on another murder mystery drama of some kind, it seems. And I was going to say, actually, I think something that's perhaps even bigger now is true crime. True crime podcasts, true crime TikToks. If we think about mystery stories from a fictionalized context, I know that you and Nicholas, like you have your Friday night murder mystery night or whatever
We
you
do.
call it.
Yeah.
So you watch quite a lot.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you enjoy the genre. I'm assuming you
You'd
don't
hope
just...
so, wouldn't you?
Well, I wonder if you could start by saying a bit about why you and Nicholas... Perhaps it might be for different reasons you enjoy, but what is it that you enjoy about watching and reading stories from that sort of mystery genre?
Yes. I have a lot of thoughts here. So, I only tend to watch these things now rather than read them. I think some crucial context at the outset is that I have worked in the police and that I worked in the major crime unit. So I wasn't a detective, I was more on the admin side of things, but I was dealing with all of the paperwork for things like murder investigations.
God.
Yeah.
It's actually really depressing.
Well, yeah, so this really informs my thoughts about crime fiction and true crime. So if ever I try to read any crime fiction, I find myself too critical of it. It's particularly things that are set in the modern day, like the Thursday Murder Club. Something like that. I tried reading that, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is just not how any of this would work.
I did not enjoy the Thursday Murder Club. I didn't enjoy the book. I didn't enjoy the film.
I haven't tried the film.
I love Richard Osman. Great man.
Yeah,
Lovely man.
yes.
Don't like his writing, sorry.
No, but I tend... this is the thing, it's not exclusive to him. He's just a very popular example of the sort of thing that I don't really like.
I perhaps need to take back what I said before, because actually now I think about it, it's a real thing at the moment for at least British celebrities to write these books. Like Graham Norton's written them.
Richard Coles,
Rob Rinder, Judge Rinder,
yes.
He's done his own.
Yeah.
Like, actually... When it comes to that sort of soft, squishy, cozy crime, that is, I think, probably, perhaps it's a COVID thing, maybe, or maybe not, like post-COVID. People like that a bit more. I don't know if that's right, but that's on the rise, actually. I think.
So the things that we watch tend to be quite removed from reality. So they tend to be usually not set in the present day. They tend to be this kind of one detective who's kind of very quirky in some way, solving these relatively mad murder mysteries. So it is removed from reality. And I think both of us like the puzzle element of it. And I don't even think it's about us solving the puzzle, because normally they make that pretty impossible. There'll normally be a crucial bit of information that the audience doesn't have.
That's really interesting. We'll get into that in a second.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, of course.
That's really interesting.
I tend to find myself trying to solve it through more meta things. So rather than anything that's revealed to us in the story, it would be like, well, there's this theory that, like, it's always the second person you see who's the murderer. I think I've debunked that by this point. But it's things like that, just the way they film certain things. I'll be like, oh, they didn't show us this particular moment from this person's point of view. So that means they're trying to hide such and such. So that's how I'm trying to solve the mystery. I'm never actually trying to solve it from what we're properly being shown. So I think it's quite satisfying having the puzzle presented, having the puzzle being solved, seeing how they solve the puzzle. I think that's particularly satisfying with Columbo, which is a different example where you see who done it, and then you're seeing how he worked it out.
Psychologists, or at least therapists, we all love Columbo. Columbo does this thing which is very important in therapy, which is he is excellent at asking Socratic questions. Ooh. Do you know what I mean by a Socratic question?
Well, no. I feel like I could work it out, but no, not off the top of my head.
The simple answer to that question, and different people will answer it differently, the way I explain it to people is a Socratic question in a therapy context is a question that your client, your patient, whichever word works for you, hasn't asked themselves but can answer. It's a question that it's something that they can solve, but they perhaps haven't done it because they haven't kind of been, this particular thing hasn't been brought to their attention. So Columbo's excellent at this. He's excellent at asking people questions that they can answer that perhaps they don't want to. They haven't really, or they haven't thought, like, it, because he's often there talking to the criminal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and
all the time.
and they've gone, oh crumbs, I hadn't really thought of that. I hadn't thought that
Yes.
he's going to look into that particular thing.
Yeah.
When I'm supervising people, I often say to them, if I'm observing their work, the thing I'll write all over it, improve your Socratic questioning, because we often end up asking people either yes, no questions, like, do you feel like this or do you feel like that? Or you end up asking a question that's just too big for them to answer, like, why is your life like this? Why are you here? What's going on?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with you? Precisely.
Why are you crying? What's wrong with you?
Which isn't a good question, because for multiple reasons. So the answer to the Socratic questions, that's the link between sort of the detective and the therapist. In that way.
That's really
It's
interesting.
a Socratic question. Obviously coming from Socrates and the Socratic method of obtaining knowledge. So yeah, sorry, go on.
I have so many thoughts on it. It's really interesting. I was talking to Nicholas about this in the car on the way over. I think it's significant that nearly always justice is achieved. The mystery is solved, and as the murderer is brought to justice. And occasionally you get one where that doesn't happen. Like quite often in Poirot, for example, something else will happen, like the murderer, they've been discovered and they take their own life, and Poirot kind of allows them to do that. Something like that. There'll be there's a sort of little twist on the ending. It's not just that they get sent to prison.
Yeah.
But I think those little hints where something else happens, it's a little nudge that, like, actually maybe real life isn't like this. And I think this is my problem with true crime. I find it very uncomfortable that people find it entertaining. And I do understand it. I do. I just find it upsetting. And as I was inspired to join the police because I wanted to be a detective because of these sorts of stories. And as I wanted to be the one who was solving something that was a bit complicated, and I would have to be a bit clever, and then there'd be a good outcome, and yay, isn't that great? And real life just isn't remotely like that. And so I've been involved in these murder investigations where, like, my curiosity has been absolutely killed in terms of that, because I've seen everything in various murder investigations, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's not entertaining. There's nothing.
No. There's
nothing you need to know. It's just always sad, and it's never this. Very rarely is there some sort of clever plan. It's nearly always the heat of the moment. There's nothing complicated in how or why they did it. Yeah. Apart from probably from a psychological perspective.
Well, not really. I suppose from a forensic perspective, you could be thinking about how does a person arrive at the point where they can kill someone? Because I'd like to think that most of us, our lives haven't been so terrible that we could just do that. So that's a huge thing to do. Yeah. It takes a long time for someone to get there, and I'm interested in that. But I agree. My understanding of working with a lot of people who have done bad things is that so often there is no planning, and like you said, it's just sort of a moment of passion, a heat of a moment where a decision is made, and then and like you say, it is just sad. It is just sad. So I think yeah.
And so I have no curiosity about murders or anything anymore. And even if the person is sentenced and sent to prison, it's not a happy ending. No. It's not a happy ending like you feel it is in the story, is because that real life person is dead and their family. Yeah,
justice isn't a real thing
affected.
when a person can't be brought back.
Yeah,
justice is only ever artificial, really, in that sense. Yeah.
So I find the whole true crime genre deeply troubling.
Well, I'm going to try and stick with fiction.
Yeah.
But no, I think I agree with you on that. Did you want to say any more about your relationship with sort of mystery genre or anything before we begin? Or I begin to talk about my...
I think that I've probably covered everything. Nicholas was saying he really likes just like the institution, he called it, of like murder mysteries. And it's part of our Friday night tradition.
Yeah.
And he knows what to expect. And he knows it's all going to be okay. So he likes that, familiarity.
We're going to come to that, actually. We're going to come to that. So I found a really interesting article written in The Psychologist, which is the British Psychological Society's journal, called The Allure of Mysteries, What Makes Mysteries So Alluring, in their Cognition and Perception section. It's written by someone called Elizabeth Michelson Monaghan, who isn't a psychologist, who's actually a freelance writer, but it's clearly very well read in psychology. So, and it was written in 2020, so fairly recently. So she starts by talking about a man called Alan Goldman, who is a Professor Emeritus of Philosophy at the College of William and Mary, who says that the mystery fiction is mentally engaging in a way that other literary genres are not. Mysteries require readers to use their cognitive abilities to interpret clues, as well as their imagination to identify with characters, including the detective, and in crime fiction, the culprit or culprits. Mysteries engage us emotionally, usually via vicarious excitement and fear. They also ask us to understand the novel's, or in this case films, structure and the author's style. So I would agree with that. You've said something really interesting there about the structure, and you using the structure more than the actual clues to figure out what's happening.
Yeah,
because you're because they're quite deliberately withholding information.
Yes.
Sylvia Knobloch Westwick is a professor at the Ohio State University of Communication, and she said for this article that mysteries may also intrigue us because developing an understanding of characters is more important in this than in other genres. The urge to inform impressions about others is intrinsic to like what we do as humans. We very quickly try to understand what a person is like. And so that can be quite important in the mystery genre to figure out, well, could this person be a murderer or not? Yeah. And I think actually, having read The First Day Murder Club, that's actually a very good example of that, because it's far more based on the person and what we think they're capable of or not. That is just as important as figuring out people's alibis. But interestingly, you did not talk about that. That isn't something you're doing, is trying to like scan a person and kind of decide.
No, I don't think so. I guess I there's maybe a difference here between like TV and books, because I don't feel like watching them on the TV gives you enough time to make that character assessment, or I would feel it was very superficial. Whereas when you've spent the time in a book and they've given you various bits of information about a person, I don't know, I feel like you could do more of a character assessment there. I do sometimes think about, again, thinking about the structure and the style, I do think about the actors that they've chosen to be particular people, and I think kind of, oh, they've chosen someone with quite a weaselly face, which probably means that they are completely innocent. They want me to think.
You are doing this meta-analysis, aren't you? Yeah. So Dolph Zillman, who is a Professor Emeritus of Communication and Psychology at the University of Alabama, has spoken about how fan preferences also play a role in a mystery's appeal. For instance, some fans enjoy mysteries because they like to have their deductions confirmed, while others appreciate being surprised by the solution. A third group enjoy the genre's inherent uncertainty. So this is a difference between myself and James. So when we sit down, like we're watching like Poirot's at the moment, he will, as quickly as possible, try and solve it. And he'll go, Robin, it was this. It was that guy in the lounge with the lead pipe. And he really frustrates me because he tries to solve it as quickly as possible and then tell me so he can at the end be like, look, Robin, look how smart I am.
I mean, is he right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not always. And I enjoy it when he gets it wrong because I go, ha! Wrong! Whereas I enjoy being surprised. I'm not there trying to figure it out. Maybe that's just because my brain isn't smart enough or I'm too tired when I sit down of an evening. But I'm not trying to work it out. You were saying there, or you were saying before about you and Nicholas, enjoying the routine of it and enjoying the consistency perhaps of it, is that has been shown as well in literature. So Wilson et al. In 2005 showed that whilst uncertainty is traditionally associated with anxiety and nervousness, people's good moods last longer in uncertain conditions, provided they know the outcome will be positive. So in this case, a solution to the mystery will be presented, and to a certain extent, what comes up comes down. Like, like, I absolutely appreciate what you're saying. In real life, justice is a very complicated thing to think about in this area. But if we're thinking about it from a purely fictionalized perspective, we're going to, it's okay, like Poirot or Sherlock or whoever, they're going to find out who did it, and they're going to get it right, and the person's going to get their just rewards for that. That links very much with what you were saying. Leo et al. In 2018 said that the anticipation that accompanies the wait for a presumably satisfying solution is itself often pleasurable. Like, kind of the process of figuring out and knowing that you're going to get to a positive outcome is good. And then going back to Sylvia Knockblock for a minute, she was saying the structure of mystery spurs interest. Unlike many other forms of entertainment, mysteries usually start with the outcome, such as the discovery of the murder victim, or in this case, the kidnapping of Flavisham. The initiating event, i.e. the murderer, isn't revealed until the end. The non-chronological order of the story triggers curiosity. And curiosity is a state that humans enjoy. We enjoy being curious, as a general rule. Koyu Murayama, who is a professor of psychology at the University of Reading, and I do apologise if I've said your name wrong, has said that the promise of knowledge is alluring. So, like I was saying about curiosity, we've evolved in a way that makes us attracted to missing information or to things that we do not know. Knowing information is adaptive for all animal survival. So we need to know where food is. We need to know who's reliable. For information that we don't have to be attractive, we need to be aware of the information gap. Mysteries are seductive because they make people aware of that gap. Then either consciously or subconsciously, they expect a rewarding experience for obtaining the missing information or knowledge. Russell Goldman, who's a behavioural economist, has said that mysteries have almost all the factors that we've identified as triggering curiosity. In addition to immediately alerting us to the information gap, mysteries often concern a naturally attention-grabbing subject, crime. Crime makes any related unknown information feel important. Mysteries are usually told as stories, and there's a narrative flow with twists and turns. A well-designed mystery sets you up to believe something. Subsequent surprises make you question these beliefs. Mystery's capacity to surprise us is integral to their appeal. I'm going to come back to whether I think that this story meets these, but I'm just talking about mystery.
Indeed.
Thinking about this fictional concept a bit. Conundrums may engage our interest on a deeper level. There is a mystery at the core of our being. What we call the unconscious is mysterious by definition, since we cannot consciously know distinctively what is there, though we gather hints, clues about the unconscious core. I would say that it's this mystery that sets us up to be engaged with other mysteries. All the great psychotherapists have shown us that whatever is going on at the surface is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more going on unconsciously. The whole process of psychoanalysis is trying to get a handle on what we don't know. The fact that everything about us is not transparent, even to ourselves, is an aspect of mystery. We've gone from some pretty basic cognitive psychology all the way into psychoanalysis. So thank you for staying with me, everyone. But mystery is at the core of who we are as humans. We don't know all of who we are because it's hidden from us. Our minds don't let us know all of it. So it's appealing to that sense of us constantly wanting to know more and more about other people and ourselves. Just to take away the psychobabble for a minute. There are pieces of us, of our psyches, that aren't integrated. These pieces, which we might glimpse as Freudian slips or remembered images from dreams, do not readily fit into the narrative we construct about ourselves to explain things we don't know or understand. And yet at some level we do recognise that these pieces of the psyche are little openings to the unconscious.
Oh, wow.
The puzzles we enjoy mulling over can mirror our own inner mysteries. Hard to decipher clues resemble the fragmented psyche pieces we encounter, and the detective can function as what Freud called the psychopomp, a kind of guise that allows the ego to connect with the unconscious.
Wow.
Just as the detective puts together the clues to reveal truths, the psychopomp helps us recognise the real meaning of these psyche pieces. Exploring mysteries isn't just for people in therapy or artists. Most scientific discoveries come up by accident on some level. It's a myth to think we logically come up with answers. The answer's not in the test tube, the answer is in our imaginations. And the way we work, with imagination through mystery. To the extent that we engage with the mystery, we gain insight and enrich our minds.
Mic drop.
We're nearly done. I'm nearly done. One more.
Mic drop.
We're now gonna. So we've done our little delve into the unconscious and into Jung. We went as far as Jung. I didn't think we'd be doing Jung in the 3rd episode.
Here we are.
Here we are. So we're going to go back to cognitive psychology. We're going to go back to safe ground now.
Okay.
Exposure to certain stimuli activates the brain's reward circuit, where the things we want and are motivated to obtain are evaluated and processed. These activated pathways encourage us to seek rewarding experiences and reinforce the behaviours that allow us to obtain them. Rewards traditionally refer to necessities like food, shelter and warmth, or tangible items like money or goods. But in a 2019 study by Kang et al., where they used functional MRI to scan people's brains, they found that trivia questions also prompted activity in the subject's reward circuits. Curiosity is a form of reward anticipation, basically, is what they were saying.
Yeah.
Kobayashi and Hisu found that the reward value of information is processed in the same way as conventional rewards like food or money, so that basically having tantalizing pieces of information given to us and trying to figure them out, they've given the example of trivia questions, but you could see it the same way as a murder mystery, and getting it right is kind of the equivalent of when we give a food pellet to a rat. It's the same part of the brain that's being activated. It's like getting a little head scratch or something like that. It's the same.
Like when you get a like on social media. And
yes.
You're like, nice.
You're like, look at me. Exactly.
Thank you for my treat.
Precisely. Which I think that you talked about a little bit is like the process of it all fitting together, the puzzle of it is appealing. And I think they're saying that it's basically that part of the brain that responds to reward is being scratched.
Yeah.
So having said all that, based on all of that, do we think The Great Mouse Detective is a good example of a mystery story?
No.
I would agree. Why would you say that?
So the solution is just bonkers. The reason Flavisham has been kidnapped is to make this robot queen to replace the mouse queen so that Rattigan can control mousedom through the robot queen. And that is not something anyone would ever come up with.
No.
And that's actually something to link it back to watching murder mysteries. I find it very frustrating when the solution is just something so wildly out there that you would never have considered it.
Yeah.
It's satisfying when it's within the realms of possibility.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I could have thought of that,
Yeah.
but I didn't. Okay,
Yeah.
well done. But when it's just something balmy, and this is what Sherlock ends up doing in the later seasons, isn't it? The solutions are just so
crazy.
Bananas.
Exactly.
It's just irritating.
Yeah.
And it's similar with this. It's not a particularly well set up mystery.
No.
And the solution is.
I mean, there's very little mystery. They figure out that it's Rattigan very early on.
Yes.
They just don't. They don't know why.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. So the basic thing I would say is I don't think it has the structure that is needed to elicit the feelings that mystery is supposed to create in terms of excitement, fear, and because of that it creates no sense of curiosity. I don't think this film makes you curious to know why he's doing this particularly, and certainly doesn't get you thinking on that quite, like it was talking about, that quite deeper level, thinking about the bigger mysteries of life and ourselves. There's nothing in here. This film has nothing to say. And like you were kind of saying actually about sometimes, I was going to say maybe mystery doesn't really do that, but I think it does. What you were saying that about Poirot, for example, having those additional elements of the person taking their life and then thinking about how that in and of itself fits into a broader understanding of like justice or like resolving a problem and how that fits in, I think is a really interesting question. So I don't think there's no mystery really, and there's no curiosity, and there's no deeper level to all of this. So I don't think it's a very good example of a mystery story. I don't think it's a particularly good homage to Sherlock Holmes beyond it sort of doing the very obvious, like you kind of said, I can figure out where you're from because of where your like the stitches on your coat. Like that's quintessential Sherlock Holmes. But if Sherlock Holmes had only done that, I don't think, like P.D. James was kind of alluding to, I don't think Sherlock Holmes would still be read now. If it was just based on that.
She does talk about how some of the mysteries are the solution is really wacky. But the point that she was making was, even in the wacky ones, his character is so well developed, the world is so well developed that you go along with it anyway.
I get that. See, I think this is where we might disagree. I think for me, Sherlock isn't quite believable enough.
Which Sherlock are we talking about? Sorry.
The original Sherlock, being
okay.
able to this level of deduction. I don't think the world actually works like that. In terms of, I think people, obviously, if we're talking about neurodiversity for a minute, we're going to go into the neurodiversity corner for a second.
Yay!
People are able to see at that level of detail, but are they able to solve crimes with it? That level of deduction? No. Whereas if we look at other famous detectives, for example, I'm thinking Morse, for example. I really like Morse and Lewis. Because I think they're very real, and I think Morse is a fundamentally flawed person. He's quite a classic anti-hero in that sense, isn't he? And I quite like him because of that. That he is clearly very clever, but he sometimes gets it wrong. He has to go back and try again. It's all it feels much more, he's clearly a very clever man, but it's not applying information in a way to get to an answer that's just not possible, like in a human world. The way that Sherlock solves crimes is in this it feels like it's in a laboratory setting as opposed to in a real life setting. If that makes sense. I don't know.
No. I think it's been a long time since I've read any other Sherlock Holmes stories. I did recently read A Study in Scarlet. I think it makes you believe in the deduction because you're going along with Dr. Watson. It's his account.
That's true.
So when Holmes first says about him being an army surgeon in Afghanistan, Watson doesn't believe that he could have just come up with that. He's like, oh, obviously, he's heard that from someone or whatever. And then when Sherlock Holmes explains his deductions based on his observations, Watson's like, oh, okay, you've made it make sense to me now. And I think as the reader, you go along that journey as well. You're like, oh yeah, ridiculous, and then everything's explained and you're like, oh, okay, maybe. Maybe that could work.
Maybe. Fair.
So I think he makes you believe it.
So Megan, shall we talk a bit about the music?
Let's talk about the music.
I've got quite a few notes.
Okay.
Can I go through them? Would that be okay if I started?
Yeah, go for it.
I think the first thing to say, and I think is very interesting, is this soundtrack was never officially released by Disney. It's never been released on the Disney label. So the soundtrack was not released until 1992. It was not released under the Disney label. It is only only a handful of soundtracks like this. This explains why it's really hard to find, to listen to. It got absolutely no love from the Oscars or Grammys, which I can understand. A lot of the music was from names that I've never heard of and never come back into the Disney realm, or they only touched the Disney realm very briefly again. So the music, like the score, was written by someone called Henry Mancini.
He's quite famous.
Yeah, so the most famous things he has done is the Moon River theme from Breakfast at Tiffany's and the Romeo and Juliet love theme from the Romeo and Juliet film.
And I would say probably the most famous is the Pink Panther theme.
Oh yeah, sorry. There's that too. Just never seen Pink Panther. So.
No, but you'll know the music.
In terms of like the main theme tune, I quite liked it.
Me too. A very adventure theme.
Yes, and actually that links a lot to the Pink Panther theme, now that you say that. I thought it was very appropriate for the time and the genre.
Yes.
Yeah. The songs were less of their time, weren't they? From what I read, Mancini had composed a song titled Are You the One Who Loves Me? To serve as a parody of a British musical song. And Katzenberg and the new management wanted more contemporary songs that would make the film more marketable, because of course they did. That was Katzenberg's thing for people who are perhaps more Disney novices. Katzenberg wanted to make every film have as many contemporary references in as possible.
Yeah.
Even if it's a film being made in the 80s about the Victorian times, so how can we get the 80s into this film? It's a bit weird. The world's greatest criminal mind, or as I call it, Rattigan, and that's to show that it's in capital letters.
Okay.
It's a terrible earworm that gets stuck in my head. Did Nicholas watch this with you?
No.
No, he didn't, because I was going to ask about what he thought about the violin playing, because I know he's a viola player.
But I had thoughts on this.
Oh, okay, yes,
Actually, yes. I didn't show it to him. I asked him a question because I wanted to verify. It's a bit of just a weird little bit when Basil picks up the violin and he's playing it when he's slumped in the chair.
Yeah.
He's playing it the wrong way around. He's holding the violin in his right hand.
Yeah.
And bowing it with his left. And I was just looking at it thinking, that doesn't seem right.
Unless
and then I sort of held it up. Like
unless
this.
he's left-handed? Would a left-handed person play
He
violin
then
like
swaps
that?
later on, so I think it was probably just a mistake. I did research on this. I did try to look up if Sherlock Holmes might have been left-handed.
Okay, can we just stop again and say, Megan told me when she walked in that she didn't do that much research, and I was like, oh good, because I didn't either. You got to the point where you were Googling, was Sherlock Holmes left-handed? Yeah. You've done way more research.
And the evidence is no, particularly because Jeremy Brett was left-handed, but played Sherlock Holmes as right-handed.
Wow, that's dedication that I wouldn't give. I'd be like, no. What about the piano keys that appear to dance?
Oh, yeah, well...
I'm assuming that's not okay, because otherwise how does the piano work?
Yes, I mean, it's sort of a classic animation move, isn't it? The keys going everywhere. Yeah. While we're on the instrumentation, I just thought I'd mention at this point the bit where Rattigan is playing the harp. So they're all very musical.
Yes, they are.
And that reminded me very much of the bit in the Aristocats where Duchess is playing the harp and the background's gone all
if
blue
you
and
want
nice.
to turn me on.
Well, indeed. I went to watch that and I was like, I did not remember those being the lyrics.
I only knew it because it was on my CD.
Oh, there we go.
I should say that obviously, as I've talked about, I had many Disney sort of collections of Disney's greatest hits. Nothing from The Great Mouse Detective appears. Oh. They can't, when it came to the music, they just shoved it in the vault and they never came back to it. Yeah, Let Me Be Good to You is a weirdly sexualised song to put in a film in Victorian England. As you will have already noted, Michael Jackson was considered by Michael Eisner to voice a character who would enter the saloon, confront Basil and sing a song at the tavern, but the suggestion was met with uncomfortable silence. This feels like a very appropriate response to me.
Yes.
Considering, for which Eisner withdrew the idea.
Tell you what though, the song that they came out with, that should have been met by uncomfortable silence too.
Yeah. Michael Jackson has 2 other links to this film.
Oh, 2?
2 other links.
2 other links.
So Larry Grossman, who was a co-writer on the songs, he's done a random collection of work for Disney. He's done The Great Mouse Detective. He worked on Pocahontas 2 and Princess Diaries 2. Oh. He loves a sequel.
Yeah.
He also worked with David Bowie, The Muppet Show, and you guessed it, Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Vincent Price is Rattigan.
Yes, he's brilliant.
Professor Rattigan. He sings very well.
For the first time. Like, he hadn't recorded... Okay. He'd done so much acting before, but not singing.
He provided the narration in Michael Jackson's song Thriller.
What?
So you know at the beginning it has that, like the creepy bit at the beginning? That is Vincent Price, and that is Michael Jackson's third link to The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh my goodness, well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
When I found
incredible.
That third one, I was like, I'm a genius.
Well done.
Thank you.
So many connections to Michael Jackson.
Well, it's just Michael Jackson and music. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
He was the music industry at that time. You will have also read that Eisner later proposed Madonna to perform the song. And I've written in my notes, Eisner and Katzenberg's obsession with contemporary references is insane. I mean, those two, they are music in the 80s. Madonna and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They really
It's
are.
like them asking Taylor Swift now to be in a Disney film, isn't it?
You say this, but the mouse, that white mouse, she's a showgirl. And who else is a showgirl right now?
She'd be perfect.
She would be perfect. Now we know the life of a show mouse.
Yeah.
Melissa Manchester, who plays Miss Mouse, that's her name, Miss Mouse.
Oh no, terrible.
And she
wrote her name.
She wrote "Let Me Be Good to You," which I actually think is the best song. I'm not saying it's appropriate. I'm not saying it's appropriate, but I think it's the best song.
No.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, the others are so much better.
That or Goodbye So Soon. I don't like the Ratigans. Okay, there's 3 songs. There's the Ratigan song, The Greatest, the
World's Greatest Criminal Mind.
Goodbye So Soon.
Yeah.
And Let Me Be Good to You.
Yeah.
For me, the best one is Let Me Be Good to You. I'm not saying it's appropriate, but as songs go, if I had to listen to one now, I'd put on Let Me Be Good to You.
I actually think the other 2 are really good.
Really?
And I think this one is not good.
Okay. Okay.
Well, there we
There
are.
we go.
There's no accounting for taste.
There is none. Because they had redone that bit in the tavern multiple times, the whole animation sequence had to be retimed and reanimated to sync with the Let Me Be Good to You. When it comes to the score, I generally thought... So I liked the main theme, but apart from that, I didn't think it was very good or very memorable. The bits where I thought it was best was when it lined up with, like, the inventions. So, like, the jumpy clarinet for the creation of, like, the Queen robots.
Oh, that's really uncomfortable, isn't it? It's very effective.
Yeah, and then, like, the music box, the lullaby thing for the doll. The rest of the score, I thought, I can't even remember.
Oh, so there's a bit that I absolutely love, which, to be fair, I couldn't now sing for you. So it's not necessarily memorable, but I just noted it both times when they go up to 221B Baker Street and they're panning around the room. There's this really gentle, beautiful violin music.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, I hadn't really thought of that.
I think they use the adventure music a lot.
Yeah,
and it's good.
Yeah, I think they might overuse it. They're like,
Maybe.
this is good. Let's use it again. Like, I'm trying to remember what music they use in the clock Big Ben scene.
It's relatively simple. I think it's tying in with the ticking of a clock, basically. You just get these, like, beats.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, actually, at building up the tension.
Yeah.
It feels quite sinister.
That's all I have written down for music. What would you like to add, Megan?
I mean, I think we've covered most of it. There's a little Disney Plus extra about the making of this film, and quite a lot of it was about the music. Yeah. And so Henry Mancini was talking about how it was his first foray into animation, and he was really struck by, like, how quickly everything moved. And as he needed to write music appropriate to that, so that was, like, a new experience for him. In terms of how the music is used very effectively at the beginning with, like, the titles, I thought that whole thing, so you've got the adventure music happening, and then when it comes up with the title, Great Mouse Detective, I feel like the font is very kind of adventurous.
It is, yes.
And the background with, like, these hazy clouds, it obviously works well for then descending into foggy Victorian London, but because it's just hazy clouds, I thought this could almost be live action at this point. Which, I just thought it was kind of effectively tying into an adventure genre.
Yes.
I quite liked the little themes that they had. So Basil is often accompanied by a little adventure trumpet. Dawson has a little bumbling theme, which I think works well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have quite a lot of thoughts on Let Me Be Good to You, but I think it probably goes into the depiction of women.
Are we ready? I think perhaps we're ready to talk about the depiction of women.
Yeah.
Shall we do it? Let's do it. Okay. You can start.
Okay, well, I don't know if we're going to do this every time, but sort of traditionally I've been talking about the Bechdel test.
Yes. Yeah.
And that I think we can quite categorically say, this time, for once, this doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
So I've put that it does.
When?
Interactions between Olivia and Mrs. Judson.
I thought that too.
Do they not speak?
Olivia never speaks. Mrs. Judson just talks at her.
So
and I was like, come on, Olivia, respond!
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's close. It's close. It's one hair away.
Yes,
but
she doesn't. She never responds.
Yeah.
She doesn't care what Mrs. Judson has to say.
I mean, the women in this whole film, or female characters, they're pretty sparse. And I suppose, again, that might make sense based in the genre and the era in which it's set. Like, the number of women that appear in Holmes, I mean, you'd know better than me. Women do show up.
Yeah, but it is fairly minimal. It's so focused on Holmes and Watson.
Yeah.
I mean, Mrs. Hudson is then probably the next main character.
Yes.
And then you've got kind of famous women who appear in one story, like Irene Adler.
Yeah. Both Olivia and Mrs. Judson are not treated well by Basil. He's very patronising, very rude. I thought that might be in line with the Holmes books.
Yeah, I haven't read enough, really. I mean, sort of famously, the only woman that he likes is Irene Adler.
Yeah.
Yes, but in A Study in Scarlet, there were incidental women in it, and he didn't seem like he wasn't rude to them or anything. He was perfectly civil. I really hate the joke of him always getting Olivia's name wrong. Like, it's so dismissive and horrible, and he's so nice to Dawson.
Yes.
And we could read other things into that.
Yeah.
As many people have, always, with Holmes and Watson.
Why not?
But he's horrible to Olivia. And I hate that.
Yeah. Getting to the pub.
The pub.
The mouse with the very large bosom.
Oh, yes.
I found her quite confusing.
On what level?
Mice obviously are mammals. They have mammary glands, but they don't use them in the same way that humans do. So I found the sort of the classic barmaid thing a bit worrying on a mouse.
Yes, it's a classic problem, isn't it, with anthropomorphizing animals. Like, the thing that immediately springs to mind for me is The Princess and the Frog, which I really enjoy when they're humans, but I really hate when they're frogs and they're so gendered, and she's like this skimpy little hourglass figured frog. It's like, there's something really wrong with that. And they're also naked. Which somehow makes it worse.
You know how I feel about frogs, so animated frogs are not my thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. It's always a bit problematic. I actually have not written much about Miss Mouse. I think I just put bit odd to see a mouse sexualised like this.
Especially in a children's film.
Yeah.
I mean, the lyrics, "Let me be good to you."
Yeah.
I mean, how suggestive is that? "I'll take off all my blues." You definitely think she's going to say something else.
Yeah.
"There's nothing I won't do just for you." Like, how on earth did that get through? It's so suggestive.
It's having all of, like, the male mice are all, like, leering at her, and that, like, Dawson's like, he's doing,
mooning.
like, the goo-goo eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just, I understand that is would have happened and does happen, but, like, do we need it in a children's film? It's just a bit weird. And it's mice.
And
it's mice.
And we're objectifying her, thinking about the presentation of women.
Yeah.
So in the little Disney Plus extra, they were talking to Melissa Manchester, who wrote and performed the song. And she was saying that she performed it and then they animated it and she could see her movements in the mouse. So she's the inspiration.
I wanted to talk about the Queen Victoria mouse for a minute.
Me too.
I found her confusing.
Oh no.
I kind of wish we'd had more of her. She only appears right at the end. But I will say, I actually quite liked the whole robotic version of her. And to me, it felt very inspired by, like, the Imagineers and the work that's done at the parks. Like, for example, the Abe Lincoln, for example.
Yeah.
Like, there's something similar about it. Which I thought was really interesting.
That's a nice connection.
Art inspires art in
Yeah.
a way. But she was very creepy. Like, when they kind of strip it off and she's just eyes and a mouth. Like, that's kind of creepy.
I wondered how they were doing the voice. Because it's just her voice that's coming out.
Yeah, because they have Flavisham speaking into, like, a thing.
Yeah, and
I mean,
somehow it gets transformed
very
into
advanced
her voice.
technology for the
Very
time.
advanced.
Very advanced.
Yeah, I mean, AI has only just got to that point. Fidget is a sexist. He calls the Queen sweetheart and toots, which I really don't enjoy. And then she just responds by saying, "You're new here, aren't you?" Which I think is quite a dignified response.
That's all I have for women. Oh, apart from Cat Alert!
Cat Alert!
Felicia! The second... Is this our second cat?
Yeah, after Snowball.
Snowball, then Felicia. She's a big girl, isn't she?
She is a big girl, particularly from a mouse perspective.
Yeah. And she's clearly a baddie.
She is a baddie.
I like how she has a tiny little bow in her hair.
I like the way Raskin talks to her. I've written down this quote: "Felicia, my precious, my baby, Daddy's little honey bunny."
You never
talk to my cats.
I was going to say, you never speak to your cats like that, do you?
And Felicia, she eats a mouse. That's quite dark.
Yes.
Like the little drunk mouse
Oh,
gets
yeah.
fed to Felicia.
That is quite dark, yes.
I feel sad for Felicia that she comes to an unhappy end being chased into where all the dogs are.
Yeah.
Poor Felicia. She
yeah,
was just
she didn't do
doing
anything
what cats
wrong.
do.
Yeah, she was just being a cat. She's just a cat.
I have some thoughts which might lead on from the depiction of women, because I was thinking about the depiction of minorities.
Yes, important. Okay.
So, firstly, Fidget, mainly, I think is definitely an ableist depiction. Because part of his scariness is the fact that he's got a peg leg and
That's a
a
very good
crippled
point.
wing, in inverted commas.
I had never thought of that. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
I also, now, I'm sure other people would say this was a stretch, but I actually think that Fidget might be quite a racist depiction as well. Because I paused it at the moment when he bursts in through the window, and that is a really scary moment at the beginning, when he bursts in and his face fills the screen. And I just thought it was interesting that, like, he's got dark skin, he's got these flared, wide nostrils, he's got these yellow eyes and pink around his eyes and mouth, and it just reminded me of those, like, really racist depictions of black people.
I don't think it was probably intentional, but they've certainly taken inspiration from those caricatures.
For a scary thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think he's presented as a black character. He's not played by a black actor or anything. No. So I don't think they're making any conscious link there. I just think that the things that they're picking up on to try and make him scary are both ableist and racist.
Yeah.
The other thing I wondered about, and I'm sure James would have thoughts on this, is that was it maybe quite classist as well? Particularly that scene in the bar when Dawson arrives and he's all dressed up as a sailor and he's like, oh, I feel completely ridiculous. And they're just, the way they're behaving to pretend to be, like, working class.
That's a very good point. James did not stay for this film. He probably would have said that. He only stayed, he only saw the bit with the chemistry set. Okay. And he actually said, oh, if chemistry was actually like that, I would have been a chemist. But yeah, I'm sure he would say that very much, that, like, okay, so now they're not like the nice middle class people. Now they're working class mice, and he feels ridiculous, and they have to put on outfits. And
all of Rattigan's minions are like working class mice and one lizard. Bill the Lizard from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
Cameo, random. I mean, Rattigan certainly presents as being more upper class.
Oh, definitely. The way he talks. Very much. He's a professor. He has a very cultured voice. In Vincent Price. Very much so. Yeah. So he's got little minions doing his literal dirty work for him, and a cat. Yeah. Eating people for him.
I mean, we weirdly haven't spoken that much about Rattigan.
No,
have we?
And
there are lots of question marks over Rattigan.
Why does he have such a problem with being a rat?
Yeah.
I mean, I should say, I haven't actually spoken about this on a film that's all about mice and rats. I am terrified of both. I can't. If a mouse came in here right now, I'd literally run screaming. I hate the way they move. I hate their tails. It's the tails and the way they move. But I don't understand why being a rat is so much worse. And I think that's one of the issues of this film, is it doesn't ever address this.
Yeah, what is going on with that?
Is being a rat so terrible?
Is it some kind of rodent racism?
Yeah.
Or is it something much more internal to Rattigan?
Is it much more of I just don't identify as a rat, I identify as a mouse?
I thought it was really interesting. Again, in this Disney Plus extra, they were talking about how they really developed these characters and they had backstories for them and everything, and I was like, release the Rattigan backstory!
Yes.
Like, what is going on
Release
there?
it. I'd watch that.
I will say, so Rattigan gets a lot of praise as, like, an underrated Disney villain. And I do think it's a brilliant voice performance by Vincent Price.
Yes.
I don't like the design of him.
No. I love that at the end, he sort of loses his composure.
Oh,
that he has been this sort of professor.
He
wearing
goes
his little
full
outfit,
rat.
and he goes feral at the end.
Yeah.
Like, he just loses it, and he sort of rips the clothes off,
Yeah.
and he's just there, like, with his fur all over the place. I thought that was really
that's very
good.
effective.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are 2 lines from this film which I've written down. One that I really like and one that I really don't.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I really like the line, "There is always a chance as long as one can think." I really like that.
Who says that?
Basil does.
Okay.
Because at one point, I think Olivia is like, "What are we going to do? Like, my daddy's gone and we can't find..." And he gets out his pipe. Because of course he gets his pipe out.
Sherlock Holmes.
And he goes, "There is always a chance as long as one can think." Which I spend a lot... I joke. Nice. I joke to people, my job is to think. I sit in my office. I sit in my chair, wherever my chair is, and I get out my metaphorical pipe and I think. I go, That's my job sometimes. At one point, near the end, when they've got the Queen involved in all of this, Basil says, "The Empire is doomed." And I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, bring it down.
They're trying to set up all of these wider implications that I don't think work, because the introduction from Dawson says something like it was the year 1870 whatever, and Her Majesty's government was on the brink of collapse, and then that's never really referred to again.
It's never addressed.
I tried to look up if there was something that was actually happening at that time.
Again, for the 4th time, Megan said she did no research. She researched what was going on with the British government in 1887.
Yeah, and like nothing. It was all fine.
It was all good. And I can't remember what the implications were for the Empire, but also we don't like empires. Empires are bad. They're bad. They're built on bad things. So
one of the things I was going to put in my final thoughts was about the vocabulary in this film. I really like the vocabulary, and I think that it will have introduced children to new words, which I think is great. Like that, an example of that is when Basil is deducing about Dawson, and he says, "And the thread is a unique form of catgut, easily distinguished by its peculiar pungency." Yeah. And Olivia's face is just like, "Ooh." Yeah. And I do remember thinking as a child, like, I don't know what you just said.
No. But that's not the point.
Significant.
Yeah.
Peculiar pungency. Yeah, it's just got some good vocab.
Well, now you've mentioned it, do you want to give, like, your final thoughts on this film?
Yeah, let's go for it. So, I have given it... I do definitely think this is a generous 3.5 stars.
That is generous, yes.
Last time I watched it, I gave it 4. And I was like, oh wow, I was really thrown by the Black Cauldron.
You were like, thank God.
So relieved. But I think it comes from the nostalgia value. I remember enjoying it as a child. I do think it's a technological achievement, and I'm always impressed by that. Like, that was significant to me with Snow White, and with this, it's the first kind of major use of 3D animation, computer animation, and I think it's used to really good effect. I really like the music, but I'm not in love with the look of it, which I do find very dark, and I'm not in love with the characters, even if they are quite pleasingly British. So yeah, that's where I am, really. Yes, it's a very, very subjective score. Very generous.
That is quite generous.
Yeah. So where are you at, Bronwyn?
So I've given it 3 stars, and it sits about halfway down my entire list of Disney Animated Studios films. It's at number 30, so it's just above halfway.
I had to move it down this time.
Yeah, fair enough. I enjoy it for the nostalgia, and now being more of a Disney nerd, I enjoy watching it for seeing all the basic pieces that are going to come into place to create the great Renaissance films that we all know and love. I think except music, for me, the music, because music is so important in Renaissance films. We saw that with Hercules. A huge part of the appeal for Hercules, for me, is the music. So, my view, we're not quite there yet. You might think...
Oh yeah, I don't think we're at Renaissance levels. Yeah. I just enjoyed the music.
Yeah, so this felt like they were drafting out what they were going to become, and so it feels like an important film for that perspective, but it's not quite there. And I think particularly the research that I did about the mystery genre, which is this is trying to emulate, it doesn't hit the beats that I would expect that it would. I think it's the only detective film that Disney Animation Studios has done.
Yeah, I think so.
And so it doesn't feel like a great homage to it. But it's kind of fun that they did try that. I think that is fun. So yeah, it's about halfway down. Like I say, there are individual sort of aspects within it that I enjoy, but the whole thing isn't quite what we know that Disney can do so well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like I didn't leave with like a strong message. Like if we look at my top five, each film kind of has a single line which summarises what that film is.
Yes.
But I had fun.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. It was a romp. It was an adventure.
Okay. So Megan, is it now time to do your favourite part of the podcast?
Yes!
It's your turn to pull it out as well.
Oh, the responsibility. Oh my goodness.
So, the Mickey hat is coming out. Shall I hold the hat?
You hold the hat, Bronwyn.
I'll shake it a little bit. And now, I hold out the hat to Megan, and she chooses the next film that we will be discussing on Gabble Sisters. No pressure. Here we go.
I have one.
Here we go.
I have
okay.
one. Okay, what are you going to be? Oh! Frozen.
Frozen?
Okay, big one.
A huge one.
Big one.
Oh, it feels like a lot of responsibility.
It does.
I think it's a good film, okay?
Yeah,
I'm just
I
not
enjoy
obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would...
It was after our time. This
It
will
was.
be interesting.
Yes.
This is the first one we've come across that we have come to as adults.
Yes.
So we don't have that nostalgia value.
Yes.
Which we have for all the others that we've talked about so far. So that'll be really
Definitely.
interesting.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that was a relatively lukewarm response to Frozen.
Yeah, I mean, what am I... Oof.
I'm happy to watch it again. I look forward to watching it again.
I mean, I think the history about how the studio came to make this film, because this is the biggest Disney film, I think, since that. I don't think it's ever got really bigger than Frozen.
No.
I mean, Frozen 2 probably...
It's on a par with The Lion King, isn't it? It's that big.
So, like, thinking about how they came to the point where they made that is going to be really interesting from a studio perspective. And also the original story. I don't know a huge amount how it was... So it's based on the Snow Queen,
yes,
isn't it?
I can have fun with that.
Yes.
That can be kind of the history stuff. That's a bit like Snow White, where I went and looked at the Grimms and stuff. I mean, the Snow Queen is completely different to this story. I already know that.
I'm trying to think about what would be interesting to think about from a psychology perspective. I mean, Elsa and Anna are very interesting characters. Sister
relationships.
I can't listen to the music over and over. I've already done that. I would be interested to read about the music, actually, because I think the music is obviously so beloved.
Yes.
It'd be really interesting to know how they did it. Well, we know what our next assignment is.
We do.
We're just going to have to let it go.
We are going to have to let it go. Yeah. Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, I do want to build a snowman, but when we record this, it's going to be in May. Or maybe even June. So,
yeah.
Well, Megan, it's been a pleasure, as always.
It's been really fun. We actually had loads to say about The Grey Mouse Detective, thinking that we wouldn't. We have talked for exactly the same amount of time that we always talk.
Yes, we got it!
We filled it.
Yes, we did. Well, from us here at Gabble Sisters, we say farewell.
Farewell.
And we hope that your crime solving is always successful.
Goodbye so soon. And isn't it a shame or something?
Okay.
Right, now we have to say goodbye our proper way.
Yeah. Bye. This is not an official Disney podcast, and the views expressed are our own. Thanks for joining us on another stop on our walking tour through the Disney landscape. We look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, you can follow us at Gabble Sisters on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your podcast, and please recommend us to all your Disney pals. Toodly pip!
I thought I heard.
Yeah, I think the door just opened.
We hear boys. There are boys in here.
Ew!
Ew.